Hello there. So I have seen a lot of people on the internet been writing about that they have some problems with the Lenovo Legion series laptops, where some of the memory is hardware reserved, so they can use all of their RAM. And first of all, how it looks when you get a Lenovo Legion laptop is that you will have 16 GB installed. I think all of the options you can buy in stock is actually 16 gigs, but at least most probably you will have 16 gigs installed. And then you can see here with the small letters that you can only use 13.9 GB. And here it says that 2.1 GB is hardware reserved. And normally with a computer it will be like 100 MB. So there's 2 GB more than normally. So why are there 2 GB more than normally? Well, first of all, that's not really a problem, it's more like a feature, because it has two GPUs, an integrated one from AMD, because this is the AMD processor version of the Lenovo Legion 5. And this is especially a problem people are having with the AMD version. And that's because of this Radeon graphic, because that's the integrated graphic card, and that doesn't have any memory. It also have an NVIDIA graphic card, 30, 50, 60 or 70. It can also be the 3080 on the Legion 7, but it has an NVIDIA RTX graphic card. And the 3070 will have 8 gigs of dedicated GPU memory actually in the graphic card. And then it will take some extra from your storage, probably an M.2 SSD. So it will have lots and don't need any more. But then the AMD actually has nothing. And even though it still wants to take some from the storage, even M.2 SSD is not fast enough for the most responsive task, so therefore it needs some RAM somewhere. So it takes by default in the Lenovo Legion laptop, when you buy it and turn on the first time, 2 GB from the RAM you have installed. So that's why you're gonna see 13.9 gigs here and not 15.9 gigs, which you will expect. That's because the 2 GB is right here, reserved for the dedicated GPU. Anyway, and that makes sense because GPUs need RAM and the graphical things in general need RAM. So you will need that to make the computer running in general, unless you turn the card off totally, which is also an option. But there is again a few options to fix this problem. You can actually go into the BIOS settings, I will show you that later, and you can change the dedicated GPU memory down from 2 GB to 1 GB and down to half a gigabyte. You cannot turn it up past 2 GB. So these are the 3 options that are available in the BIOS settings integrated in your Legion laptop. Then there is another totally different solution, and that is you can turn off the AMD graphic cards in total, and then you will have 0 GB reserved. So therefore you will end up with only 148 MB reserved. So roughly 15.9 GB available. So you can actually get all of the 2 GB back if you want that, but you have to have the NVIDIA GPU turned on all the time, which will use more power. So if you run on battery, it will die lots faster. And even if you don't run on battery, it will cost more money because more power. So the computer will just use more power, and that is not the smartest choice for most people, unless you have like unlimited money, especially in this economy with the electricity prices. But don't even want to get into that. But if you have unlimited money, you don't care about electricity prices, and you're always in home where you can put it in the charge all the time, then it will not be a problem for you. But for most people, it will not be the smart choice on a laptop like this to turn on the NVIDIA graphic cards all the time. It should be turned on automatically in specific apps that use it. Right now I'm using Up Studio to record, and it uses my NVIDIA graphic card to encode the video, as you see, and that is just fine. It uses some 3D too, but that's just in general. It always use 3D. I don't know what it means specifically. It basically just means everything, but it has focus on the video encoding right now. And if I turn on a video like this, you can see that it's not using decoding. But now there are spikes in this one, and it doesn't have a decode option. It only have 3D, so again 3D means everything apparently. 3D means decode and it means encode. So it's really everything, it's just a mix of it, I guess. But in the video you can see specifically encode and decode, and that's what happens with video. When you're making a video, it's encode, like recording a video or exporting from a video editor. And when you are watching a video, it's decode. So right now I'm using 0 of the NVIDIA GPU to watch this video. I'm only using the AMD GPU to watch this video. And that is a very important fact right now, because I'm gonna show you the test of the AMD GPU with the different options. Because even though you can turn it off totally, I don't think it's the best option. It may be for you, but if it is, then you don't need to watch this video, I guess. But if that isn't the best option, I don't want this sound actually, then it's probably gonna be a good idea to watch this video and see what's the best of the 3 other options. So I have tested this thing both without recording in Up Studio and with recording in Up Studio, and I got the exact same result. So don't worry about I'm recording in Up Studio. I only do that to prove my point, but it's the same result, and in your everyday life you will see the same results as I get here, roughly at least. So I'm gonna show you exactly how much of your AMD GPU, especially of the dedicated memory, you will use in your everyday life when you're using your computer in the light mode where it uses the AMD GPU. So that was mouthful. So let's get right into the test. Right now it's on 2 GB again, the default option and the highest option, so that is the most power you can give to your AMD GPU. So let's see how it performs in this case. I have some videos here. You can see when I watch a video like this, it uses roughly half a gigabyte. It's locked at 4K, so it's quite high quality video. You will not watch high quality video on your laptop. Anyway, I want to put this one as always on top, because that is the important thing we're gonna watch right now. And when we make it full screen, it jumps to like 7, 8. It stays at 8, okay, 7, now back 5. So you can see it can jump past 5. So actually already now we have kinda ruled out the half gig option, because I have already managed to use more than half a gig just by full screening a 4K video. But now it's back again, and actually it's really low. I don't know why it's that low right now, but normally it will be, oh, it's annoying right now, like this. Okay. Normally it will be at least 5. Now it's back at 5. I've really never seen that at 4 before. Okay, now it's at 6, so you can see it can go over 5 even when you're not full screening or do anything, you're just watching the video. I'm not even watching the video really full screen. I have this overlay, so it'll probably be more, maybe. Now it's back under 5 again. So in 7, 8, see when I watch a new video or the same, it jumps to 8. If I skip in the video, now it's my internet, now it's like 7. It seems like it's higher when I'm skipping in the video. Okay, now my internet is not that good, I don't know why. Also YouTube is fucking a bit because it should have loaded the whole video so I can just skip around. Now it's kept at 7. 6, 7 again, okay, it's very stuck at 7 right now. So as you can see, you can easily use more than 500 megabyte. And you will actually use at least 500 megabytes. And actually if you see in the extra storage it takes from the SSD, it actually uses past 1 gigabyte right now. But it has 2 gigabyte available, so why doesn't it use 1.2 or 3 gigabytes of the dedicated memory? Well, that seems to be because it don't need to. It only uses what it needs to use, and because not everything has to be available right now, it uses like 700-800 megabyte of the SSD, just because, why not? So it's a really clever algorithm. It's like, it will only use it if it needs to. It will never fill it up 100% just because it can. It will rather want to offload it to the SSD. But of course it does it in a way where you will not get lag, because else it will be stupid when it has the available fast memory. So because of the offloading, it actually never really jumps above 1 gigabyte, as you can see. I can make it 0.8, I can jump out of this and see when I'm full screen it goes to 0.9, and if I do that a couple of times fast, it will pretty much stay here, but it will not be 1 gigabyte. I have had a really hard time making 1 gigabyte. I have actually managed to do it very few times, but as you can see now it jumped to 1 gigabyte, but only for like a split second. But see, I cannot make it more than 1 gigabyte. That's actually only like the third time I ever seen 1 gigabyte, and I have tested more than 100 times now. So this is very hard to make it 1 gigabyte, and it really can't go above 1 gigabyte at all. So just by this test, I'm actually kind of already shown you that 1 gigabyte is the right option. So the short answer will be choose the 1 gigabyte option, because you can clearly use more than 500 megs, so that one will be stupid unless you rather want to live with the lag and want to add some more memory to your available uses. But I cannot see a reason for that when there's only 500 megs and you have a powerful gaming PC. You want to like feel it's a high-end PC. You don't want to feel like it's lagging. The 2 gigabyte is also stupid because it never uses 2 gigabyte, and I don't know why it wants to select. That's how it works. I will prove that now by watching more than one video, because now we have tried watching 4K video in full screen mode, which will be normally how to do, and now we can try watching more than one video. Okay, now it's good. Now it's 0.8, so it uses a fair bit when you watch 5 videos, but it still doesn't use more than 1 gig. I can move this around to open up for new videos here, and maybe make it fill up the memory some more. But nope, doesn't really happen. Then I can go full screen at 8K video. That's 4K. What? Is this one the 8K one? No, that's also 4. Didn't I put this one at 8K? There was one I put at 8K. So like this. I don't know why. Okay, it automatically turns back to 4K What? Now I can select 8K. Okay, that's really strange now. Okay, whatever. You can see now 0.9 again. Can full screen. 0.9. Oh, 1.1. Oh, that's the first time I made a 1.1. Okay, that's interesting. That kinda changes my like testing conclusion now. So it's getting interesting. The tests are gonna be interesting anyway. Oh, I can make 1.2 even. Oh, okay. So if you continue to full screen and non-full screen, 1.3. If you continue to full screen, non-full screen, and 8K video while you're watching 4 other 4K videos, then you can actually make it 1.3. I kinda wanna see if I can make it higher now. But this is 100% torture testing. You will never do this in your everyday life. It will just be stupid. So stupid. I'm losing more than 3 GB of total memory now. The highest I got before in total was 1.7, but this is working pretty fine. I have got past 3 now. Okay, funny, now it's actually getting down under 1 again in the dedicated users. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know what happened before where I could make it 1.3 and 3.3 total or something like that. But it could happen. And that's the first time I went past 1.0 in my testing of multiple rounds now and doing this kind of things more than 100 times. So it will basically never happen. But as you can see now, it's past 0.5 and less than 1. So that's the range is basically from 0.5 to 0.9. It never go under 0.5 if you watch a video at least. And it pretty much never go by 0.9. So that's the normal range. Now it's like pretty stable, pretty much in the normal range you will get when you watching videos just using the AMD GPU in your everyday life. So I think this was enough for the 2 GB option. Now we go to BIOS setting and change it to 1 GB. And I will show you how to do it by recording my computer screen with my camera. So here from my camera you can see that we enter BIOS now. Not like now, but in a moment now. So you press troubleshoot and then you press advanced, so I remember correctly, that's good. And then UEFI settings. Then it will restart again, if you can call it that. Hasn't even been fully restarted, kinda. I think it turns off the whole computer on, but it does it that fast so you don't even see it at turn off. But whatever, this is how the BIOS look in the Legion series. You can change boot settings, you can make it use the dedicated graphics only, that means the 3070. You can make it use the 3070 all the time. If you do that, there will be 0 GB RAM dedicated to the AMD GPU. That's nice if you really need the RAM for something else, so you can make it 0, or rather 148 MB I think it is, so you can make it 15.9 GB available if you want that. And here's the overclocking options, that you can see another video for that. Here you can go to configuration and then out here you can also change the switchable graphics. But under that option you see this 1 gig thing, that's the UMFA frame buffer size, and that doesn't sound like a human name, so you probably will not know what that is unless you have watched a video like this. But here you can see there's these 3 options. You cannot go above this and you cannot go below 2 gigs. So let's just try the 2 gigs option now, the one you are used to from when you buy the computer, and don't change a thing. And then let's go in into the computer again. So you have to press exit where it says save and exit. But that's the first option, it's not hard. If you don't read, you probably chose that anyway. And now we restart it. So now I have switched to the 1 GB option, as you can see here. Now it shows 14.9 available in Task Manager compared to 13.9, and now it shows 1.1 GB reserved compared to 2.1. So that's a fair bit more available. Actually makes a big difference right now while I'm using 11.5. So that's crazy, because I have like more than 3 GB left now. It will only be a bit more than 2 before. So that's good, makes a big difference. You can see this one is saying what now? This one is important one. So now I've started to watch some videos again, and as you can see, it's like before from like 5 to 7. If I go full screen, it jumps to like 7. If I do it a couple of times, it jumps to like 8, 9. You see, I'm past 2 GB total now, but it has offloaded a lot. Don't seem to be able to make it 9 right now, I don't know why. Normally it goes to 9 pretty easily. Now it just annoys me I can't make it 9, because normally it goes 9 when I'm full screen. I'm even doing it at 8K videos now, so I don't know why that doesn't work. Oh, now it went to 9, that's great. So I didn't manage to torture test it as hard as before. I don't even remember what I exactly did when I had 2 GB. But I still made it to 2.1 total and 0.9 dedicated. I have really hard time making it 1.0 dedicated, because that's 100% and that will pretty much make it lag. So it's really good at offloading the memory before it gets to the total. But as I show you with the 2 GB option, it will pretty much never get to 1 GB anyway, only if you torture test it. And really watching 5 4K plus quality videos at once and full screening 5 times plus in a row at the same video with less than 1 second delay. So it makes literally no sense. Why should you do that? That's such a waste of time and not and plus to the experience anyway. So that's not how you will use your computer. You will use your computer maybe like this, watching 2 or 3 videos at once, if you like doing that. I actually do that sometimes. So that's a thing you could do. You can also just watch 1 video like this. Maybe you scroll a bit in the comments or looking at the next video before you are finished with the other one. As you can see, that's pretty stable at 7. And full screen is like pretty much the same. So that's pretty much what you will see normally. Not past 1, not even if you have 2 GB available, but in the around 5 to 900 megabyte range on this one at least. And this one will be like apparently 0.7 is possible to like 1.7 at the max normally. Even though you can make it free when you total test, but normally that will never happen. Also doesn't matter because you always have a lot here. And you have the same total like you If you choose 1 or 2, you have exactly 8.4 total for some reason. It just take 1 GB less here if it has 1 GB more here.
Be my escape. I wanna run away. Be my escape.
So that was the 1 GB option. Now I will show you the 500 meg option. So I will go back to BIOS and then I will come back to this screen again. So now I have it set to 500 megabyte. As you can see now in the memory tab, you have 15.4 GB available now out of 60. So it has 660 megabyte hardware reserved, which are exactly the 148 to the CPU and 512 to the graphic card. So that's way less than we have the first time we checked, and that's the least you can get as long as you're having the AMD card turned on, as it is right now. So as you can see here now, it's in megabyte instead of gigabyte. I don't know why they just kept it in megabyte throughout the whole thing, because it's mostly providing the megabyte area and not the gigabyte anyway, and the max you can get is 2 GB, and max you can use like 1. So it makes no sense to not write in the megabyte now when they have clearly made it UI to write it in megabyte in the first place. But that's how they do. It's different. It doesn't make sense, but it doesn't matter. The thing that matters here is now we only have 512. We are using around 100 now. That's normal because I have nothing open. If I go open something, oh, wrong, like this, all the videos here, it will raise quite a bit, as you see. It actually made it past 400, oh, almost past 500 actually. That's for great. That's the highest I have seen on this option. Don't care about locking the others, I don't care about showing them. Okay, so you can quite easy pretty much max it out, as you can see. So that's not good. And then it's almost always using 800 megabyte of the shared GPU. But as you can see, we can keep it past 400 and almost at 500, quite a lot. It'll be past 300 now, almost past 300. As you can see here, it's filled up. It's pretty much 100% all the time when you're doing things like this. I mean, not even starting the real total test. Not really anything interesting happening here. Now it went a lot down actually when I chose a new one, but it went up in the shared. So now we passed 2.1 in shared, so that's the same as it was the last time. As you can see, it's lacking a bit actually. And that's the point, because one thing is the numbers gain, but you can also see that it's lacking right now when I'm doing these total tests. I can't find the one I was looking for. I can make it past 493, but that's also this and 20 megabytes away from the actual 100%. So it will be crazy if I hit higher than that. But as you can see, we have quite high memory uses now in total, and it uses way the most from the shared one. It has offloaded way more than they had with the 1 GB option, and it has offloaded like 5 times as much, like 80% is offloaded to the slower memory, or it's not slow, it is slower, I mean the slow one, M.2 SSD. Not that slow, but not really RAM speed, especially not DDR4 RAM speed. So we feel a bit of lag when we change which video we are watching, and when we change to full screen mode. That's where you like feel the lag. It takes some time for the animation to like. I think the reason why full screening and on full screening is a torture test is because there is an animation in Windows 10. And when you see that expansion animation, it lags when you are in this 512 meg mode. Where in the 1 gig mode, it never lags. I have never seen the slightest bit of lag in the 1 gig mode. But in the 512 mode, you can experience some lag sometimes. Or you will. You most probably will experience lag almost half the time through full screening. If not up to every time actually. So, that's why I think you should not choose the 512 meg option. The other reason why is because you are gaining literally 500 megabyte extra. It's not a big difference. When you go from 2 gigs to 1 gig, you are gaining a full gigabyte. That's twice as much. But going from 13.4 gigs to 14, or not 13.4, going from 13.9 gigs to 14.9 gigs. That's like almost 10% increase actually. But when you go from 14.9 gigs to 15.4 gigs, that's more like a 5% less than that increase. So you will not really feel that. So I think you are better off not having the lag, because you will feel the lag with 500 meg, you will not feel it with 1, because there's no with 1. 2 is too much for this graphic card. It can't use it. It's not powerful enough. 2 is overkill, in other words. Where a gigabyte extra, you could use that, especially if you're not using it already, because the dedicated hardware reserved dedicated to this graphic card, it's impossible to use it by any other apps than the graphic card itself. And because it can use much more than 1 at least, there will always be 1 gigabyte that will not be used by your computer at all, never. And that's just stupid. That's not good hardware management. You should use your RAM always. Of course, I'm not 100% in my RAM always, because I have 16 gigs and soon 64. And with 64 gig, you will not use that all the time. But stay tuned for that video. I will record that I'm upgrading the Lenovo Legion 5. So there will be some opening and there will be some testing after. Both before with 16 gig and after with 64. So it will be a long video with everything about upgrading the RAM. And everything about how it is to have 64 gig in a gaming laptop in this decade. But apart from that, you will not use all of your RAM, but you want to do it. It will actually be perfect to use like 97% all the time. You will not want 100, because 100 is where you get lag, but like close to 100, like 97% all the time will be the perfect scenario. But that's not how it works, because you do different tasks. So sometimes you use less and sometimes you use more. But you will never use these two, so it will never go much past 50%. And that's just stupid, that's just a waste of RAM. But in this case, you can use 1 gigabyte. So why not let it? It wants to use more than 500 megs, but you're not letting it. And therefore, it's actually performing worse than if you chose the 1 gig option. So that's why you, in my opinion, should choose the 1 gig option. And therefore, I will change back to that now. So now I'm gonna restart to go to BIOS. I will stop the recording just to make sure. So press the Windows button, the power button, and hold down Shift like this, and press the restart button to get the please wait. And you get this one where you have to go down to troubleshoot press enter. Down to the raise option, advanced option, and press enter. Down, right, on the arrows. We'll hit firmware setting, press enter. You have restart, press enter, and it will restart, or kinda, or something. And you press more settings here. You press configuration, press right, and go down to this one. And you can see you can change that to 1 gig. Change it up to 2 gig, but you can also change it down to 1 gig to save release the memory for your normal usage, or actually all your other uses, and then you restart again. And that's it. That's the bind settings. So now I have changed back to the 1 gig option, the one I'm going with and have been running for the last couple of months, and the one I will recommend to you. So as you see again, you have 14.9 available out of 16, so pretty much 15 gigs out of 16. That's good enough. Sounds way better than 14 gigs out of 16. 15 gigs out of 16 is something you can probably live with. 1.1 hardware reserve, 1 for CPU, 1 for GPU. The 1 for CPU is unchangeable. The 1 for the GPU goes here to the AMD GPU. As you can see here, exactly 1 gigabyte per size dedicated here. Now I'm using 200 mix. That's incredible. I don't know why. 400, yeah, that's normal. Okay, 3 now. If I go, let me go and see what happens if we full screen a bit. So we have already done the total testing, but as you can see now, we have uploaded a lot, but they still have some to go. So it's not because it's like overheat, or what we should call it, whatever. It's just because I'm watching a lot of videos I'm actually not watching. There's only one video really available on the screen, so the 4 others are not in the we need it now kind of memory. And the Windows animations are using a bit of memory here. There's not really any lag, just like the normal animation not looking as smooth every time. YouTube is not working perfectly every time. If I do like this, it looks a bit better, because it's meant to be like this. You have it almost full screen, then you go full screen, so that we can make it 9 pretty much all the time. Now a new video. Oh, it didn't really like that too much. Oh, it actually went down. It totally emptied the graphic card. Oh, that's probably because I closed down the video, because the we need it now dedicated memory is used for the video actually watching, where the offloader, no, actually it's not using anything. It just, okay, this makes no sense. I've never seen that before. It's using no memory right now. What is going on here? It's not because of the NVIDIA, it shouldn't be. Let's use the same as it does before. So, that's strings. This is the same for recording, that's just for encoding. It uses this much. And it's pretty stark as at this amount, so it's not because of that. This one is not using a lot right now. This is beautiful actually. I don't know what's happening. right now. That's interesting. Many interesting things happen in this test here. Things I haven't seen before. Thing. In normal, everyday life, it will never go past 1, even for a fraction of a time. It will go to 9 pretty much every time you full screen a video, or open a new video while you're still watching the old one, or something like that. You can even watch 5 videos at once without going past. You can full screen and locked 8K video without going past. So there's literally no scenario I can test, and I have tested a lot, as you can see. I have not seen a single scenario where it makes sense to have more than 1 gigabyte and where you can actually use it. So this is the reason why I will recommend 1 gigabyte for you. So you can get an extra gigabyte of free space, which I have used a lot. I'm a heavy RAM user. I have a couple of things here and there that use a lot of RAM and I want more RAM. And that's why I'm upgrading to 64 gigs. But still, I will not settle with the 500 meg option because it's too laggy. I don't want a laggy experience with this high-end expensive computer, so I rather want to have 500 gig less and then have a non-lag experience, but I want the extra gig compared to not any positive gain actually with having 2 gigs. It's just overkill. So that's why I think that's the sweet spot and the one you should choose. You don't need to, of course, it depends on you. You can switch AMD off totally and just go with graphic cards. Again, use more power, both plugged in and not. Plugged in, use more money. Non-plugged in, battery dies faster. 500 gig option, I will not use that in any circumstance, but it's better than the 2 gig option, kinda, because the 2 gig option is just overkill and stupid. You will never use it. Doesn't make any difference from the 1 gig option. The 500 meg option, it gives you 500 meg extra. You can survive. If you can live with a little bit of lag, it's possible to survive with that. But the 500 meg extra, I don't think it's worth it compared to the lag. To have a totally lag-free experience and give up 500 meg RAM for that, I think it's pretty fine for me. So I guess it is for you too. Then there's the fact that I did this on my Lenovo Legion 5 from 2021. The AMD version, of course. This is, as far as I know, the NVIDIA GPUs don't have 2 GB dedicated by default. So you will not have, there's NVIDIA or Intel. The Intel CPU option, which have the integrated Intel GPU, will not have 2 GB dedicated by default, as far as I know. That's why I have built on it. I have not tested a computer from the Legions here that have the Intel, but as far as I know, none of them have 2 GB reserved. Maybe some of them have, I don't know, but it may only be an AMD problem. And I don't know if there's any different if you have the 2021 version or 2022 with DDR5, or the 2023 with both DDR5, 13 gen, no, it will not, it's AMD 7 gen AMD CPU, which have a newer graphic card. So the 2023 may be different because of the different graphics, but it should be the same. It's more like a CPU side that has upped. The graphics should be kind of the same as the 5th generation that's in this one. So I don't think there will be a difference. And the dedicated RAMs will be the same. I think the options are the same, and I think it's not using 2 still, but it's probably using more than 5 because it's more powerful than this, so it will not go the other way. If you have the Legion 7, as far as I have seen, it's the same result. Like, you can choose the same options, and it will not use more RAM really because of that. No, because it's a Legion 7 and not 5. There's not really a difference in this department, at least. And if you're having a non-Legion series AMD laptop from Lenovo, at least, it should be kind of the same result again. Maybe it will use a bit less. Like if you have the Ideapad 3, It may, I don't know for sure, it could be the same, but it may use a bit less than the Legion because it's a less powerful laptop. So that means in that case, you will still not go past 1, so you can still safely choose the 1 gig option. You may have actual benefit by choosing the 500 meg option if it uses less RAM. But again, if it's locked at 2 from the start, as it is in all the Ideapad 3 gaming laptops I have seen, I think 500 meg is still not a good option, because then they will not lock it at 2. However, they lock it at 2 even though 1 is a better option. Objectively, you can see that in the test, but still I will go with the 1 just to be sure. But you could do some testing for yourself if you wanna try. But it takes some time to restart, like 3-4 times as you have to do to change it and change it back to the best one. You have to test all 3 options, and then you have to turn it back to the best option. So it takes a lot of time. Even though they are powerful laptops and they restart quite fast now, it still takes some time to change the option and test it and all that. So maybe you don't want to do that. I guess that's why you watch the video, because you could just do it yourself. But you're watching this video because you want an answer. And I like to test these things because I'm strange and I had nothing better to do with my life. So that's why I made this video for you, and I hope you got something out of it. At least you have the test shown on screen. I can't help by filling in with my opinions all the time, but it is opinion. I think I kept myself quite objectively, because my personal opinion and the facts, like the objective difference you can see, I think they fit quite good together. I think I have a good conclusion that fits the test, and I'm not getting colored of I need more power, so choose the best option most, or I need more RAM, so choose the least. I have the middle ground, and I think it's objectively better if you look at the two things. You want as much RAM usable as possible, but you also want the best performance in your laptop while you're watching videos, do your everyday task. And I think the 1 gig option is the logical, objectively best choice to do both of these right. So the only reason you should not choose that, in my opinion, and for what I know, for what I've seen in my own test, should be if you prioritize one option way above the other. Actually, one of the options should be the only thing you care about. And even though I will still choose the 1 gig option, just because if you really want that extra 500 megs, then turn off the AMD GPU in general and get a whole gigabyte extra, so you can get to 14.9 gigs instead of 13.9. That's a better option probably, even though it will lose more power on this battery. But if you really care about more RAM usage, you can turn it off when you are needing the RAM, I guess. But for your everyday life, a computer to do it all, computer to do every task from watching videos, editing videos, watching videos where you use a lot of the dedicated RAM to the GPU, and editing videos where you use a lot of the available RAM you have apart from that. If you do that and everything else you can do on this laptop, the 1 gig option will probably be the best. And if you're a really heavy power user, to turn AMD off totally will be the best. If you only do the powerful task again. But that's just if you only do the powerful task. Again, if you do everyday life stuff and you do the non-powerful task too, to have the AMD turn on at 1 gigabyte is the best option. Because then you will use the NVIDIA graphics when you need it, but you will not use the power, and you will have the battery when you do the less heavy task. And the AMD GPU with 1 gig can easily do the less heavy task, and all of them to the same performance level without hesitating compared to the 2 gig option. So now I'm speaking too much. I have said it many times. I have given my recommendation. You have seen the test. You can go back in the video, you can watch it multiple times. Go into more details than me, focusing on some specific points you want to have cleared out, and then you can make your own choice. So that's it for this video. Remember, I'm gonna upgrade my computer to 64 GB of RAM quite soon, if you watch this video for fun, if you think that's fun, I think it's fun sometimes, then you will probably like to watch this video too, because it's kind of related, like it's RAM too. But this video is about little RAM. It's about, do you want 13.9, 14.9 or 15.4 gig available? This one is more like, do you want 64 gigs or 60? So that's a bit more interesting, I think, to see what can 64 gigs do in a laptop. So remember to subscribe and tune in for that video. I have already ordered the RAM sticks. They are on the way. Maybe they will come before this video get up. So when you're watching this video, the other video will probably get up like tomorrow. So it will be quite soon. So remember to watch that, and until then, I'll see you in that video, I guess. Have a good night. Bye bye.